organized an international webinar on the relevance of Mahatma Gandhi in the 21st century, which was graced by some of the most eminent scholars, both in India and abroad. We've had a legacy of various events, seminars, workshops, sports tournaments, annual trips, poetry, concerts, stand up shows, and much more. However, the new year brought with it new challenges. But despite the ongoing pandemic, we magnificently organized our annual Professor K.M. Ashraf Memorial Lecture along with the National E-Seminar. These events were followed by Atit, our annual departmental fest. As part of Atit, the department successfully arranged for an undergraduate research conference, a Dastangoi performance, and a Sufi musical evening, even though online. In addition, we are now also very close to wrapping up our extensive oral history archival research project on the history of Chandrawal, a suburb close to Delhi University's North Campus.
As our staff advisor, Dr. Amit Kumar Suman has reiterated on numerous occasions, Karwa, Rukna Nahi Chahiye. So here we are beginning with another academic year of great experiences in learning, cultural activities, and various other events to enlighten you all. We started this year with the objective to leave behind a legacy. Legacy has now been organized into various committees such as cultural, journal, sports, webinar, KM Ashraf lecture, social media, KM history project, and freshers farewell committees for a smooth functioning of the department. In addition, a student union alongside an executive council is very enthusiastic to work on the upcoming events and making this another academic year a success. With the completion of the aforementioned Chandrawal Oral History project, we are prepared to start with the KM History project in an attempt to work on the history of Delhi University as a whole and working simultaneously on the history of KMC with the target of presenting our research on the occasion of 100 years of DU in 2022. We will also, with immeasurable delight, soon be introducing our very own academic journal, KMC Journal of South Asian Studies. For the same, we plan to organize a research paper conference very soon. In addition, on 7th of September 2021, we also hope to see you at the workshop on tribal art with Professor Seema Bawa, Head of Department, Department of History, DU.
On this positive note, we shall now commence with the event that we've all gathered here for today. An online screening of the documentary film 100 Years of Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, followed by an interactive session on the same, with notable documentary filmmaker Mr. Mujibar Rahman. I now invite Purbasha to take over and proceed with the event.
Thank you, Shambhavi and Akanksha. So, Haruki Murakami once said, "Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it." This pandemic has cost us many things, but one of the greatest loss is that of the people we need. On the behalf of Legacy, the History Department of KMC, I would extend my heartfelt condolences and sympathies to all those families who have suffered this loss. In order to pay a small tribute to all the people we have lost to the second wave of the pandemic, I would now request everyone to observe 1 minute silence in their remembrance. The blood might have dried, but the wounds are gaping open. Lives had been lost, but had sparked the fire to reawaken. The loose bonds of unity had further strengthened the resolve to honor the martyrs, not with tears, but with the progressive nation. Such is the tribute we aim to give our ancestors who have been laid down on their deathbeds in a blink of an eye. That fateful dark day has now completed a century. Still, the pain of their loss doesn't lessen. I would now like to invite Principal Ma'am for a few words of wisdom. Over to you, Ma'am.
Thank you, Purbasha, Akanksha, Shambhavi. Thank you very much for initiating this program, which is exceptional in many ways. But before I say anything about that, I must extend a very warm welcome to Mujibar Rahman Sahab. Thank you very much for being with us and screening a film which, in many ways, has become is about an event which has become a kind of myth, and myth not in the sense of being untrue, but myth in the sense of all of us, everybody in India knows about the event that occurred, just like we know about a lot of our epics. It is an epical event in that sense. So, epic, one of the definitions is we know about it without having read these books. We know about Jallianwala Bagh, and we know about the brutality, about the repressive orders that were given, about those who lost their lives from very, very small infants to adults. But what this film does is that it actually tells us much, much more than that. I have seen the film because I knew I will be busy with the interviews which are going on. That's why I'm standing outside, not in the room. And I must say, information is the least complimentary adjective that I can use for it. That is the base, the basic feature of the film. But it recreates an event and a day, traces what happens before that, it builds up the context, and then locates this day and this incident within that context and what follows. There are uh, names of people and descriptions of events that I was not aware of. In fact, one of the best qualities of a good piece of work is that there is generally a follow-up with at least potential research. Even if we pick up the mere names of people the film talks of, it could lead on to very, very well-researched biographies and adding a lot more to the history of India and that period than we know of. There are names that were unfamiliar to me before I saw the film. The details of crawling orders, of connecting the event with the emotion of being enslaved, with the passion of coming together without a very, very strict program, just coming together is a kind of a culmination of some expression of protest which was there and not finding an expression. And the human aspect involved in history. I think it deals with all these and much more. And therefore, I'm sure this is going to be a very, very enriching experience for all of us. And I must really convey my heartfelt thanks to Mujibur Rahman Saab for not just making the film, which I can see is made with great deal of attention. I'm not sure, but I have a feeling, an impression, an engagement of emotion. So, thank you very much for bringing it to us. We look forward to it. Thanks are due to the history department, Dr. Amit Suman, Dr. Dheeraj, and all the other members who have made this possible. There has to be a culture of historical, you can say, curiosity, research, asking questions, and also the relevance of that which we think is over for us today. And the History Society has been, I find in last couple of years, the History Society has organized programs, and our students have talked about these programs, which are research oriented and which I think include research by students in their whole concept. And so, heartiest congratulations to the society, to the department, everybody who is involved in it, and also to all the participants who are here. They are very precious, these participants, and we look forward to your responses. So thank you very much for organizing this. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I wish you a very, very enriching day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I am Mujibur Rahman. Uh, I convey my heartiest thanks to you because you have seen my film and you have pointed such a interesting points of my film, and for that I again thanks you from the core of my heart.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Now, I would like to invite our teacher in charge, Professor Dheeraj, sir, for the welcome note. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning to everyone, and my heartfelt thanks to Principal Ma'am and our guest, Mujibur Rahman Saab, and the I think that the documentary that is going to be uh, shown to the student, the event itself, the Jallianwala Bagh, which has so many debatable issues which are there, and the kind of vivid capturing of the event by Mujibur Rahman Sahab in his documentary in a well-researched manner, and how he has tried to connect with different people, and who are their families, and how they are interconnected, and the historical perspective of that make it a very good piece of historical research. And in that sense, I thank Mujibur Rahman Sahab, and it will be a learning experience, and we will be enriched in that way, that how this whole debate, the Jallianwala Bagh, and its depiction in historiography, that how Churchill has one-sided depicted it in a manner as a very isolated kind of event, which was tarnishing the image of the empire, and how it was not a act of empire as the civilizing mission they were carrying, and in that way they were trying to show that how they were civilized, and they are not all going to have this kind of barbarous act. But on the other hand, the Indian national movement and the nationalist historian, how they have depicted and how they have perceived the whole nation of that how it was a brutal, and how it was a blot on the face of imperialism, British imperialism in that sense. and in that way, how this whole massacre is to be seen in that perspective, that how our martyrs, and how the kind of debate that it has generated and how it has given impetus to the national movement and the rise of Mahatma Gandhi. And in that context, the belied and delusioned perspective of the national movement after the First World War, and in that how it has got the impetus and how it is still an event that is occurring time and again in the memory of the world history and Indian history, particularly as Sasi Tharoor and different writers are writing and debating on the issue that there should be apology on that from the British side. And we have seen how the British PM James Cameron and others have also shown their apology in that context, but there is no official apology in that way. So that is also a debatable issue. But not taking much of your time, I will just like to have the thanks, big thanks to Mujibur Rahman Sahab for this well-researched documentary and having that kind of curiosity that will generate in the minds of our students and other who are joining this very webinar. So thank you all for all that. And I welcome all and have a very nice session that it will create high height of curiosity in the minds of these students. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. So today we have with us Mr. Mujibar Rahman, a notable documentary filmmaker and writer based in Kolkata, West Bengal. Born and brought up in Murshidabad, he completed his graduation from Calcutta University in 1995. After his graduation, he pursued film appreciation course from West Bengal Film Centre at London. In 1998, he went to Mumbai to learn and gain more experience in the craft of filmmaking. Terming the years 1998 to 2003 as his learning phase, he worked as the assistant director of Nyay, a Hindi daily, Kanyadan. He also served as the assistant director for the serial Kadam for Sahara TV, produced by Disha Production, Mumbai. He has directed a large number of short and long documentaries like Rokeya, Aluke Duti, Rabindranath Tagore, Jeevan Oshomai, etc. Documentaries on music maestros like Ustad Vilayat Khan, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, etc. Biographical films like Shri Chittaranjan Dasgupta, Dukhumiyanar Golpo, and Qazi Nazrul Islam. Now, Legacy, the History Department of KMC, extends a warm welcome to you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, First of all, I'd like to thank all of you again, especially the principal ma'am, my friend Professor Amit Kumar Sumanji, Dhiraj ji, and my dear students who are uh, very much eager to see the films. And I have heard a few of you have seen the film already, and maximum of you have not seen, I think. So, being a director, I don't speak first. First I let my film speak. This is the system I follow from the very beginning. I will just take 2-3 minutes, and I will limit myself only just Thanksgiving. First of all, I would like to thank EZCC under Ministry of Culture, Government of India. The EZCC Kolkata, I actually would like to thank them because they have trusted me to make a film on a serious subject like Jallianwala Bagh, and that already has completed 100 years. Ma'am has rightly said that we Indians, more or less, all we know about this event, this epic event. As a history student, we always remember and feel pains for the suffering masses uh, and who became the victims of the brutality of the British military officers. And that was a good challenge for me to make a film. And I was very confused then what to do and what to present uh, within this frame of 60 minutes. But due to COVID situation, I was not very much active to go to the archives and the other libraries for a detailed study. But I got chance to talk to the persons, especially the history professors, uh, Mr. Rajshekhar Bosu in Kolkata, Calcutta University, Sushnata Das, Professor Amit Kumar De. I talked to them uh, in details about the history, and I have studied the latest books published on the subject. And I find it out two, three things. And I came to my conclusion that taking the decision of organizing a mass killing event was not a temporary or an instant decision from the Britishers. It was a long term uh, conspiracy that was taken up by the Britishers. And General Dyer was not the only person. He took the decision, observing the contemporary situation in Amritsar. On him, there was the Lieutenant Governor Michael O'Dwyer, Michael Irvings, and so many upper officers who discussed and took the decision. And another two things I will uh, join here as the motive of the Britishers, why they took such a heinous decision, you know, that Jallianwala Bagh incident happened on 13th April. Before 2 3 days before, there were so many events in Amritsar that made the Britishers frightened and very serious uh, about the situation. What was that? Especially the 9th April incident, that was the Ram Navami festival in Amritsar. And in this festival, the British officers observed one very dangerous thing, that was the unity of Hindu and Muslims. Hindu and Muslims both joined in huge in number in the road of Amritsar. So this unity actually make disturbed to the British officers. So they wanted to destroy or also disturb this unity, because they had the bad experience in 1857 when Hindu and Muslims unity troubled them a lot. So these things they did not allow to be happened again in Amritsar. So they took the decision to give a lesson to the Indians. And so here I can just quote one thing of General Dyer, two lines that he told in presence of the Hunter Committee when he was asked and his responsibility. Then he told, "It was a horrible duty I had to perform. I think it was a merciful thing. I thought that I should shoot well and shoot strong so that or anybody else should not have to shoot again. I think it is quite possible I could have dispersed the crowd without firing, but they would have come back again and laughed, and I should have made what I consider to be a fool of myself." So that was the comment General Dyer did in front of the Hunter Committee. So the intentions of the Britishers is very clear. So I actually researched for 1 year. I spent 1 year for the research and targeted and scripted my film, and I have made this. I will not discuss any more on the film because I would like to allow and you to see the film first. And if you have any questions, then there is an introduction section. So then I will discuss again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I would request Prapo to present to start screening of Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, 100 Years of Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. Over to you, Prapo.
The northwestern state of Punjab in India is lovingly referred to as the land of five rivers and the food bowl of India. It is also the state that has been home to many reverential gurus and esteemed.
Not getting the sound.
Yeah, proper sound is not coming. Please check it and replay.
Continue to visit the holy city of Amritsar and the Golden Temple in large numbers every day.
जलियांवाला बाग 100 ईयर्स हो गया, तो मेरे लिए ये एक फाइटिंग स्पिरिट की तरह है. एक स्पिरिट थी मैंने कि कैसे लड़ना है, कैसे करना है. वो अंग्रेजों के खिलाफ जो आंदोलन हुआ था उसको एक रेवोल्यूशन के लिए बिल्ड किया था उन्होंने. तो वो एक मेरे लिए एक फाइटिंग स्पिरिट है. आज के टाइम पे यूथ इनकरेज करे इन चीज़ों को, ये मैं बताना चाहता हूँ.
Jallianwala Bagh, an unbelievable, unparalleled and unprecedented incident. One is not sure whether this barbarous and tragic massacre will find a mention in the annals of world history, but no one can erase it from the history of India's freedom movement. On April 13, 1919, those innocent souls who died in great pain and anguish at the hands of the British soldiers and their merciless bullets had looked at the podium at Jallianwala Bagh and dreamt of nothing but freedom and independence. India and Indians continue to remember and revere those unknown martyrs, even today, after 100 years of the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy.
तो ये जो हिस्टोरिक इवेंट हुआ था
ये कुछ लोगों के लिए सिर्फ एक स्टोरी के लिए ही रह गया है। आज की डेट में यूथ में स्पेशली वो फीलिंग है नहीं, क्योंकि आज के डेट में सब अपना अपना देख रहे हैं। इस चीज़ से हमें मोटिवेशन इसलिए मिलती है कि हमें अपने नेशन के लिए भी कुछ करना चाहिए। ठीक है, इन स्पाइट ऑफ थिंकिंग अबाउट आवर सेल्फ, वी हैव टू थिंक अबाउट आवर नेशन ऑल्सो।
Thank you, Bravo, for presenting the screen. Words do fall short in front of such a beautifully woven craft of emotions ingrained in the visual medium. We would now commence our Q&A session. The floor is now open for questions. Audience can type their questions in the chat box, which will be taken up during the course of discussion. Those who want to unmute themselves can raise their hand or can type their name who would be called, and they can unmute themselves and ask the questions. Okay, so first question is by Ashi Tyagi. Sir, what challenges did you face in the making of this documentary?
Yeah, thank you very much for showing my film. And I have seen the audience, a good number of audience have shown this film patiently. And first of all, I'd like to welcome my friend Dr. Anuradha Ghosh from Jamia Millia University. I'm very happy that she has seen my film with us. Um, this is the question that I'm going to answer. Uh, when I got this chance to make this film, and when I uh, got the subject, then I became very much serious at that time, because it was the subject itself was a serious subject. And initially your principal ma'am had said that we Indians all know the subject. So this is a very well-known subject. During our student time, we came to know, we came in touch with this subject. So then I got 1 hour. Then how to exploit that time and what to present. So then, and it was very bad luck for me. I got this assignment in the late of 2019, and 2020, you know, all you know, the corona situation. So I didn't able to move various places to visit the archives and exhibitions. Only I could reach Amritsar with my team for shooting. So, and that was also the February 2020. And after just 1 month, the lockdown declared. So gradually, I just started to lose my confidence. Then what to do with this very serious subject? But God helped me, and I started talking to the experts around the country, the professors. They helped me and supplied me the materials, and I actually went through the recent publications on this contemporary on these subjects. So I just made myself ready that I should give details of this incident. And what I actually gathered the concept that I was fixed that to explore that point, that Jallianwala Bagh episode and incident was not an instant or temporary decision. It was a long route and a conspiracy against the Indians and to suppress and oppress the agitations that was going on at that time. And that was the British plan to give Indian a lesson. So it was, there are so many challenges, but thank God I have completed this film and this film is now before you.
Now I would invite Sahil to unmute himself and ask the question.
Yeah, thank you, Purvasa. Sir, first of all, I feel very honored to get to meet you and watch your work in your presence, which is really laden with some revelatory facts about the park. Thank you for that. And so basically, I have two questions. My first question is that what are your views about the revamping of Jallianwala Bagh that happened very recently? And especially that 600 feet single entry and exit passage, which is now covered with murals. I can very
Yeah.
vividly remember when I first visited the Bagh 3 years ago that even a depiction of British soldiers in the general dyer was made by the metal frame wire covered with creepers and plants to preserve the Bagh. And the originality and the freshness of bullet holes on walls still feels so raw and alive. So, what are your views about that? Even the British historian Kim A. Wagner, among many others, have expressed their concerns about the loss of originality in the Bagh due to the revamping.
Yeah, this is the reality we are observing. We all Indians are not happy with this government initiatives. And when I went to Jallianwala Bagh last year in February, and I also become very frustrated and showing the preparation they were going on from the government initiative. So I was really very unhappy seeing the all the arrangements they were making, and it was like a high-tech digital park, entertainment park, but the ethnicity and the originality of the park somehow disturbed. So, actually, as a researcher, as a filmmaker, I believe it that the reformation or restoration can be happen from any corner. That is welcome also, but keeping the originality. Then why people are rushing to Jallianwala Bagh from the various corners of our country to see the scars that left by the British military, their brutality. Suppose you are not finding out anything of that sort, so you are not going to see the digital exhibitions or the cafe or to drink a coffee there. So I'm not also happy the what happened there, and the media also has shown all these things. So the government or the concerned authority should definitely take it in for consideration and also give respect to the emotions of our countrymen.
Thank you, sir. And the second question is I would like to ask, being a movie enthusiast and a citizen of a country which produces maximum numbers of movies every year, that we all are aware of the headquarters of NFAI, National Film Archives of India, in Pune, and
Yeah.
its maintenance and the vital role in preserving and reviving masterpieces movies of a country. But recently news that the film division of India has asked NFAI to accept as many as 11,000 film cans containing celluloid negatives of documentaries made by the film division of India in past few decades, because film division does not have any temperature control environment to store them. And worse than that, the NFAI has expressed its inability to accept those films due to the shortage of space. So, what are your views regarding this sad state of archives in India? And Is there any other organization in your knowledge working towards archiving the documentaries made in our
You
country?
getting my voice, Sahil? Please ask a question related to today's theme only, because Mujib Bhai has agreed to come only for the movie screening and interaction related to the theme. So please ask questions related to the today's theme only.
So, sir, that was my only question. Okay. Sorry.
I would now like to invite Dr. Anuradha Ghosh to unmute herself and ask the question.
Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to meet Mujib Sahab after a long time. So, of course, at the outset, I must say that I'm very much, impressed by your documentary on Jallianwala Bagh, which is a much needed documentary. So, I'm not aware of the other documentaries made on Jallianwala Bagh. So, if you could throw some light why Jallianwala Bagh had been neglected for so long, and it had not made its way into the documentaries. It had made its way into fictional cinema. One I can remember is Gandhi. Okay, in Sham Benegal's Making of the Mahatma, I don't think Jallianwala Bagh is mentioned, if I'm not wrong. That is the first half of my question. That is, why does Indian cinema, whether documentary or fictional, in Hindi or in Bhasha languages, I am not sure about Punjabi language cinema. So why has it been, outside the margins of cinematic discourse? And if it has been so, then Mujib Bhai's contribution is singularly very important. And the second part of my question is to do with knowing Mujib Sahab better, because courtesy my own project, I'm familiar with his other works. So if you could share what made him shift from personal autobiographical narratives, which he had been documenting, whether it is on Begum Ruqayya or it is on Prafulla Chandra or, Kaji Nazrul Islam or even Rabindranath Tagore. So from that to come to a specific historical event like Jallianwala Bagh. So I see a shift kind of in his work, a kind of progression from individual histories, personal biographies to movements, incidents, and events in history. So, Mujib Bhai, please throw some light uh, for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Anuradha, for asking me these very good questions. First question was that are there any documentary or film initiatives? Um, yeah, actually, I have seen one documentary film that is also available in YouTube now. That was also made by the government of India on 50th years completion of Jallianwala Bagh. And that is that 19 minutes film was not sufficient to give the complete concept of Jallianwala Bagh. I that's also give me an inspiration or energy to devote my concentration to this subject to give a much more enlightenment on this subject and various aspects. Also, the contemporary publications also shown us the various aspects of this subject like Jallianwala Bagh. So that helped me also to include that untold aspects and new developments and new findings of the history of Jallianwala Bagh. And you are very right. We have seen two, three films at least, fictional film, that is commercial Hindi film. So that is a difference between a commercial Hindi approach and the documentary. So documentary is much more academic and very and documentary filmmakers should show the honesty to the subject. So uh, can assure you there were no such available documentaries on this subject, and you have rightly said that Jallianwala Bagh as a subject was kept aside and cornered by the renowned directors and producers of our country. And when I got this chance, and from EJCC to make this film, I really became very energized and serious that and I am entering into your to answer your second part of question, Anuradha, that yeah, from last few years, I started with Rabindranath Tagore in that I completed in 2011. Then onwards, fortunately and unfortunately, people choosed me to make films on biographical films on the great son and daughters of our country. And I have made several films in this context, and you have named a few. But I shifted myself from the literature and the biography to the history point of view. And history is also another point of interest to me also. Uh, and when I got this chance to make a film on Jallianwala Bagh, then I thought, yeah, it's a different thing, different subject, different interest. But Jallianwala Bagh was such a nice piece of the history. So I got really my emotional attachment to this, and I devoted myself for 2 years to complete this film. And I don't know how far you have liked or how far I have reached to give you the satisfaction, but I have tried. And now, Anuradhan, another news for you that I am also making a film again on a historical subject, that is policy conspiracy. So now the history subject is coming in the pipeline. So I am changing myself from and experimenting with myself with various subjects. Thank you very much that you have joined us and seen my film.
I just want to thank you for letting me know. And of course, I'll be looking forward to 1757 and your take on it. But
Yeah.
I also look forward to a film that you've not mentioned, but I do want something to happen after Sham Benagol's Junoon on 1857, because Sham
Yes.
Benagol's Junoon on 1857, it marks the 150th anniversary, but it also is
Yeah.
a memorable retake or an adaptation of a novel by Ruskin Bond, A Flight of Pigeons. So it is a creative
Yeah.
reconstruction of the spirit of 1857, but a documentary in the real sense of the term on 1857 has not yet happened. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
1757 has been missing, the Carnatic Wars is missing, our Tipu Sultan is also missing. So
Missing.
there are so many, our Hyder Ali is also missing. So I'm
Yeah.
looking to a host of memorable documentaries by you, whether it is personalized fictional autobiographies, because
Yes.
these 19th century, 18th, 19th, 20th century luminaries are important, whether it is Rishi Aurobindo, whether a Srima, whether a Mother Teresa in our contemporary times. These public figures are role models for our youth. And in this, the discourse that our children are locked in, be it in school or, college going and university students, they are locked in social media platforms and in online gaming, which is creating a kind of illiteracy that one can hardly imagine what it is. Okay, so and we
Yeah.
talk about the malady of COVID. I think the malady of the digital world is far more serious intellectually than anything else. So I look
Yeah.
forward to these inspiring documentaries to push our children and our youth to know history and become an Indian with great pride and honor. One can say that we are Indians and we belong to this plural diversity of the subcontinent. Thank you so much, Mujib.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now, next question is by Kashvi. So, what all sources did you refer to and considered while making this documentary?
Sorry, could you please repeat it?
Yes, I'll just reiterate the question. Sir, what all sources did you refer to and consider while making this documentary?
Yeah, actually, the references and resources, actually, I consulted so many people around the country, I have told earlier, and actually I could not visit the other authentic libraries and resources. So, I didn't come to the National Archives also. So, whatever the resources I could arrange here in being in Kolkata, and a few of my friends and professors also supplied the materials. So, with that, I have been able, and Kishore Desai also helped me a lot and being a part of this film. So actually this was the very limited resources I could explore during the making of this film.
Thank you, sir. Now I would invite Priyanshi to unmute herself and ask her question.
Good afternoon, sir. First of all, thank you so much for being here with us today, and it was a wonderful watch. My question to you is I would like to know how difficult or challenging is it to present history through films and to maintain the accuracy of it?
Yeah, this is a very beautiful question, um, because I also, Anuradha has said that I was in a different genre from last at least 10 years. So I shifted myself to the history subject, and again I am also right now I am working in another historical subject. So I will say my experience, or I can share my the process I was going through during the making of this film. I just concentrated to the subject first and made myself the areas the which actually I was going to explore. Jallianwala Bagh had a different aspects to explore at that time, but only one popular thing was that it was only related to General Dyer, and it was as if seemed to us that only it was the General Dyer's decision to kill the unarmed innocent Indians on 13th 1919. But I thought, no, this is not the correct uh, narration. There are something else. So, what were the new things to include to the film and to show the people? So, first you have to make your mind that what you are going to present and what are the things that is not discussed yet popularly in our textbooks or in the common people's mind. So these the unknown factors. Actually, the academics who are researching or very accustomed to this subject is different thing. But the common people have no such details on this subject. They only know General Dyer took the decision and killed the unarmed masses. So I started to find it out afterwards, aftermath of this event. So I just limited the points and that I scripted, and then I just tried hard to show the authentic documents, and so the archives also helped me to show the visuals, correct visuals, and very apt, and that is available. And I have also shown some suggestions, and that is also very much apt for the subject. So history should be presented in a way that people can connect to it correctly and can have the uh, and can enjoy the simultaneously the information and the visuals both. So the responsibility here is double. So you have to make a you don't forget that you are making a film. So film is a entertainment media also. So you have to add music and effects, digital attributions, all those ingredients should be there, and simultaneously the information. So historical information will be merged with it. So these are the factors I kept in my mind. I have made this 58 minutes film. I hope you have got your answer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now we will go for the next question. Gargi Sharma asks, Sir, what made you select this particular incident among other freedom movement incidents to make your documentary on?
Yeah. Gargi, you know, our government of India has celebrating 75th year of Indian independence. So they actually have given making the short documentaries on various subjects. So EZCC approached me with this subject. Selection was not mine. I got this subject and I gave them my consent of making this film. So if Onurara had said about 1857, so I could have very happy if I
I think so. There is a technical glitch. Let us wait for Mujibar sir to join again.
He has joined.
yeah, yeah. So last of all, the subject.
Sir, you are muted.
Yeah, the subject was given me by EZCC, and I just tried to make a film on it.
Thank you, sir. Sir, how many questions can you take more? I just wanted to know. Because there are so many questions still remaining.
Yeah, it was a long session, so 2, 3 questions I can take.
Okay, sir. Shambhavi Jha asks, what are some of the things one should keep in mind when writing or directing a historical documentary? How can we accommodate the various sources in the time period of an arc?
Yeah, mm, this is a very academic questions of filmmaking. Uh, yeah, when you are taking up an assignment of making a film on a historical subject, first you have to. It is my uh, advice, you can say, just read the subject and give uh, a bigger portion of your time for research. Research is very important, and you have to consult various opinions in the form of book or consulting historians available.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Perfectly.
Thank you. So the documentary helped us understand the difficulties Indians faced, injustices towards them, and the oppressive behavior of the Britishers. This entire video was indeed very informative. The past has been analyzed in depth and is very helpful to understand the brutal behavior of the British towards the Indians as they instigated the reign of terror. Punjab was a region very important to the British Empire as it was responsible for providing at least a quarter of Indian soldiers for World War One. The times were tough. Between 1917 and 1919, the price of food grains had doubled. The outbreak of Spanish influenza had caused the deaths of 14 million people in India. The British government then passed the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act of 1919, better known as the Rowlatt Act, under which protesters could be imprisoned without trial, tried without a jury, and denied the right to appeal. The massacre was also triggered by the events on the Ram Navami day. This was the day when the Hindus and Muslims came together in Amritsar. The unification would scare the British like never before. The decision to implement the Rowlatt Act was the last straw, prompting the city's businessmen to call for two strikes on March 30th and April 6th, 1919. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satpal, Congress leaders from Amritsar, were at the forefront of the protest. They believed that the oppressive government could be thrown out by a united front of Hindus and Muslims. To unite the two communities, it was decided to mark the Hindu festival of Ram Navami, which fell on the 9th April 1919, as the Rashtriya Ekta Divas, or the National Unity Day. Hindus and Muslims drank the chabal water from each other's hand on this day. On one hand, Hindus were putting tikas on the foreheads of Muslims, while the Muslim placed the topis, or the Islamic cap, on the heads of the Hindus. According to the Congress Punjab Inquiry, a report commissioned by the Indian National Congress, the youths, motivated by Dr. Hafiz Bashir, were moving through the bazaars of the interior city as the Deputy Commissioner Miles Irving stood in anger. After the complete report was sent to Lieutenant Governor Michael Francis, he issued orders to detain Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal. Both of them were secretly sent to cantonment. However, the news spread to the locals and they came to know about the arrest. The public gathered in large numbers to head towards the Deputy Commissioner's residence. It was followed by Irving's and Captain Maisie's open firing on the crowd near Hall Bridge and then at the railway overbridge. By the next morning, many Englishmen were wounded and government buildings were destroyed. It was after this that Reginald Dyer appeared on the scene. He was then promoted to the rank of general and sent to Amritsar. On April 13th, 1919, everyone was getting ready to celebrate the festival of Baisakhi. In the morning of this day, General Dyer marched through the city along with the Deputy Commissioner of Amritsar, Miles Irving. They made announcements to inform the people that the gatherings were prohibited. Not only this, they also threatened to use force in order to disperse a meeting. This announcement had been made in 19 places, none of which was near to the Jallianwala Bagh. Dyer and the other
Thank you, Darren. Now we have reached the concluding half of the event. I would now request Prapo to present the screen and present the memento to Professor to Rahman sir for taking out his precious time from his busy schedule and joining us all today for the screening of 100 Years of Jallianwala Bagh Massacre and for an interactive session with the students. On the behalf of Legacy, the History Department of KMC, Prapo would now present the memento.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I would like to request you to speak a few words.
Yeah, uh, what to say more? Only to express my inner happiness. And I'm very much thankful to Amit ji for inviting me and giving me this very good chance to show my film. This film was released on 14th August uh, by the Ministry of Culture, and this is the first show and first webinar on this film that was conducted by you people. So, and I have seen the huge numbers participation and the discussion after screening. So it also gives me inner energy when I interact with the students. I feel very happy, and I will tell you one thing. Why did I choose this documentary section of filmmaking? I thought that I should make films that would be used as materials for the students. And so when I see students watching my film, then I consider it that I have really touched my dream. So it gives me extra energy and delightment to show films to you. And I will just give you one information. My one film on Rabindranath Tagore, biography on Rabindranath Tagore, is now part of the syllabus of two universities, one Jadavpur University and another Edinburgh University, Scotland. So I would like to make films on history, culture, and literature, and the personalities of our country. So again, when we will get any chance from your side, then I will show my another film and will be with you. So thank you, Amit ji, and the students uh, who have seen this film and organized this beautiful virtual webinar.
Thank you, sir, for your amiable words. Now we have reached the concluding half of the event. I will take.
Thank you, sir, for your yeah. Please carry on, please.
No, sir, you can say the thank you note. Over to you, Dheeraj, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dheeraj, sir. I would now take this opportunity to express my heartfelt thanks on behalf of Legacy, the History Department of Kirori College, to our principal, ma'am, Professor Bimla Chauhan, for always encouraging us in our endeavors. I would also like to thank all our professors for always supporting and guiding us. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today and making this webinar a success. I would now request everyone to kindly disperse. Thank you.